Well, it seems that Henry Kissinger has given the go-ahead to say, F you, America, happy birthday. After decades of shilling for Israel, giving, $10 million a day to Israel, allowing them to take all of our intel, all of our computer software, all of our research and development centers to Tel Aviv, all of our electronics, every single piece of software has backdoors in it. It's all been backdoored. Israel has created backdoors through their Qualcomm Snapdragon R&D centers. Every piece of equipment in the United States is compromised. All of our intel is compromised. And they have now said, F you, America, we're going to go ahead and go with China. Which is something that many of us have been warning about for a few years. Nobody seems to listen, or most people are too scared to talk about Israel because, well, we know why. Or they're just bought out by Israel, which is the vast majority of them. Well, they are now, let me just go ahead and read this garbage. America versus China. In this new Cold War, the choice is no longer obvious. The end of America's hegemony isn't the end of the world. That means it doesn't really matter because we've got China. But wait, for those who aren't up to speed on the Israel situation and how they own our mainstream media and how they own everything, Hollywood, porn industry, pretty much everything, anything you could think of, Goldman Sachs, I can go on and on and on and on. Okay. And they own the NGOs that create these unhegemonic marches and protests and riots, paid actors on the scene. Even the school shootings always seem to somehow connect right back to Israel. In Polish Galicia in the early 20th century, Jewish families split up and members made their ways to different parts of the world. Now, why would they do that? Often, one part of the family emigrated to America, a second part would remain in Poland, and the third settled in Palestine. Well, isn't that most frickin'ly convenient? This results in many Ashkenazi families have a branch in the United States, or, as the phenomenon came to be known as, our uncle in America. It goes on and on with, hee hee hee. Don't worry, F you, America. Oh, the Wonder Years, the Full House, F you, America. Yeah, the wars that so many of your soldiers died for, fuck you, America. Oh, let's put this cute little flag, China and America, but hey, what's the big flags? Yeah, China, F you, America. Look, get this. The same holds true for the U.S. Supreme Court. See, they go on to start talking about this phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. For instance, the achievement chalked up by the Black Lives Matter protest movement, which has jolted the United States in the past few weeks, stir emotions here too, and generate calls to disseminate the message to every corner of the planet. But in fact, this phenomenon also suggests that the lives of Americans are to be considered worthier than the lives of any other group in the world. You see how that works? You see? Y'all see how that works? Now that the Black Lives Matter, they're flipping it, just like we've already said. How we said, you might want to shut up about your Black Lives Matter, because what about the slaves right now? The ones that are actual slaves right now. This isn't going to end well. Shut up, you entitled piece of crap from America. That is too freaking... I have no freaking words right now. I'm just... Oh, Israel. I mean, it's not anything that any Christian should be shocked about. They've done this essentially since day one. Hence why they've had to be separated and sent off, and they continue. But yet we have to just allow it, because that is the plan. We don't have to support it, and we can definitely call out the evil. So then they start talking about the same holds true with the U.S. Supreme Court's recent ruling on discrimination against employees because of their sexual inclination, a judgment that produced cries of joy among the LGBT communities around the globe, communities that are not even subject to the American judicial system. In general, the international LGBT movement is a subordinate to the inordinately extreme domination of the United States. All the terminology that various entities and sub-entities are American concepts. Really? These are American concepts? American concepts? Because America, regular old Americans, Irish Americans, French Americans, and whatever else, just Americans, good old red-blooded Americans, own the mainstream media, right? They own Hollywood, right? They own the music industry, right? They own all the influencers, right? They own YouTube, right? Twitter, Facebook? Shall I go on? No, it's not red-blooded Americans that own any of that stuff. It's people that look like white people. They are the seed of Satan. And so this situation that they created, the LGBTQ agenda. So if you're LGBTQ, you might want to listen up. They push this crap on you. You're probably in your mind all day, every day, probably either drinking yourself to death, shooting up all day. Like, am I really gay? Why do I have to live this life? It's because they push this agenda. You don't have a father. You didn't grow up with a father. Oh, well, they push that agenda too. All to come to this. To make sure and squeeze everything they could out of us and say, F you. And that's, I'll leave the link to this. It goes on, and it's even more disgusting, and how ridiculous they put it for people that actually know the truth. This might not seem like anything to a lot of people. Like, oh, it's just an article. This is huge. This is huge. This is bad. I mean, not that we already didn't see this coming. Not that we already didn't see America on the decline, but this is bad. Happy birthday, America. Love Israel.